the Davidoff shop in London. I've opened the shop in 1980, May 1980. That's 28 years old. I've started it. It's my baby. As you could see, we specialize in selling cigars and any related products to smoking, with one or two additions as a tradition. And you could, from where we're sitting, you can see we've got walking sticks and umbrellas, which was part of a tradition of a tobacconist selling these items. That's why I started stocking and selling them as well. But everything else is really related to smoking. Right. But our main business is cigars. Okay. Cigars, and a small portion of that is pipes and tobaccos as well.
And 28 years ago, were you new to the cigar business, or how did you come to it?
It was a new business to me. I used to smoke cigars. I started smoking a pipe when I was 16 years old.
Right.
And I must have been about 23 years old or so. I was given a box of cigars, a box of Partagas, which is a very strong cigar, and I tried to smoke it. It was far too strong. I smoked it at the wrong time of the day, 10 o'clock in the morning, put it back into my drawer, and about a month later I tried it one more time, and I enjoyed it. And from there on I slowly started smoking cigars. So I was a cigar smoker for years. And you probably see, I'm new to this town. I only came over to the UK in 1979, and circumstances had changed in my life, so I had to start all over again. And just talking to a solicitor who now is a good friend of mine, asked me the question saying, "Oh, what are you going to do? You're too young to retire." And I said, well, what would I like to do if I was going to start all over again? I'd love to sell cigars. Have a cigar shop like the Davidoff shop in Geneva, which I used to go and buy my cigars from.
Right.
And it all started from there. A letter was written to Davidoff, and we met up and negotiated, and about a year and a half later the shop was open.
And this was the original site?
This is the original site, the original fittings as well. We haven't changed much. I like to keep the shop in a very friendly atmosphere, where you could come in, you could look around, you could choose what you want. Nowadays you can sample as well. You can't smoke, but you can sample the cigars. And that's what it's all about, really. When you're smoking a cigar, it's a pleasure. And it has to be a pleasant exercise obtaining them as well as smoking them.
Right. Wonderful. And how many different cigars do you stock?
Oh, I get asked that question quite frequently, and every time I promise myself I shall go and count it.
Right.
But I think in a rough calculation, I've got over 200, 250 different sizes and brands and packaging.
Right.
For instance, a Monte Cristo number 1 cigar, we sell them in boxes of 25, boxes of 10, packs of 5, packs of 3, single cigars.
Right.
So just that one size already is 5 different types, and multiply that by the variety they have and all the other brands. In the Davidoff range, we've got, God knows, 50, 60, perhaps even more different sizes, shapes and brands as well. I would say easily 250, if not more.
Excellent.
But they're like wines,
Now I've only just come to understand this, that quite how aging of cigars. I didn't understand
it's very important.
Yeah.
It's very important. Any cigar you buy from the shop now, they're ready to be smoked.
Right.
However, if you could, certain cigars in particular, if you could keep them, let them mature in the right condition, very important, it has to be kept in a humid condition at the right temperature, it could only get better. You don't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep it for 100 years, but if you could keep it for 15, 20, a matter of fact, any cigar, if you can, ideally, keep it for 7 years before you smoke it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And between 7 to 15 years,
That's
it will be at its best.
Wow.
Between 15 to 25, it's not all that bad, and beyond 25 it starts losing some of its flavor. But having said all this, now by experience I'm finding that there are cigars that I have which are 25, 6, 7, 8 years old, and if anything they're getting even better now than they were originally.
Wow.
Just incredible. That's one of my questions. Somebody walks into the shop, I want a cigar. I said, well, do you know what you want? No, I just want a cigar. I said, well, fine. Then tell me, what are you going to? When are you going to smoke it? Well, does it matter? Of course it does. Are you going to smoke it now with your coffee across the street? Are you going to smoke it after lunch? Are you going to smoke it after a nice dinner? And then if it's a dinner, okay, can you tell me, do you know what you're going to eat? Do you know what wine you're going to drink with that? Do you know what company you're going to be in? Do you know how long of a time do you have to enjoy that? There's so many little things. And then the more information it gives me, more I narrow it down to a particular cigar. And then at the end I'll tell him, well, this is the cigar you have to smoke. So, but I don't like it. I said, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
When
you don't
get to that point.
This is what you will enjoy.
Fantastic.
Take it, smoke it. If you don't like it, bring me back the ashes and I'll give you another one. Because I know in those circumstances he will enjoy that cigar.
And that's a comment you're happy to make. If I select a cigar for you and you didn't enjoy it, come back.
Absolutely. I do it all the time.
Wonderful.
I'll tell you why. This is not official, so I'll tell you.
Off the record.
No, on the record.
Okay.
And on the record as well, because this goes back, you asked me about when I opened the shop.
Yeah.
I've never had a shop in my life. I come from our family business was in breweries and soft drinks in Iran.
Okay.
So when the revolution happened and the Shah fled and the fundamentalists took over the country, they burned down 3 of our breweries in one day because it was alcohol and whatever.
Right.
So we were lucky, being Armenians, we were lucky to get away from there. Came over here and started the shop. So I opened the shop, and then the first day I'm standing there I realized I've been into many shops all my life, but always on the other side of the counter.
Yeah.
It was unusual to do exactly the opposite of what you're going to. It's like a photograph and a negative, they're two opposite things of each other. And it really, nights and days and nights, I just used to think, what can I do, what should I do, how should I do it. There isn't that many books to tell you how to run a shop, they tell you all the ins and outs of the financial things, but really beyond that there isn't much information. And probably a few months down the road, one day it suddenly clicked. I said, well, hang on, let's look at it the other way around. I'm a customer going into the shop, what do I expect? And whatever I expect, I give now. Customer walks in with a complaint, it could be any complaint. I just think, well, what does he expect? And then, or if I was him, what would I expect? And then I just do that. That makes life very easy. Coming back to people, come in with a cigar. I've smoked the cigar, half of it's smoked, the other half is sort of fallen apart. I didn't like that. First thing I said, sir, I'm going to replace this, don't worry. But let's go through, see, why didn't you like it? What was wrong with it? Did you keep it in the wrong place? Did you light it up in the wrong way, upside down? Did you find it too strong, too mild? And I keep on repeating, don't worry, I'm going to replace it, but I want to give you a cigar this time that you will enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to have a second cigar and not to be happy with it.